If I'm being truthful, all I want to do right now is just listen to Eurovision. Also, I'm meant to be in Cannes right now. I'm meant to be in Cannes at the film festival, but Miss Rona got in the way, so here we are. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Charlotte. Today we are going to be doing a tag video, and I did a lot of tag videos kind of when I was starting my channel just to give me like things to do and kind of video ideas to do, but I haven't been doing them, or not really wanted to be doing them that as much because I'm trying to be doing other more creative ideas. But I really wanted to do this one because this one's based around a album that we all should love. I was kind of not really tagged by Therese. Everyone book is Therese. I'll link her channel in the description below. She just kind of did like anyone who wants to do it, and she's my friend, so I was like, I'll do it because we both love this album, we both love this person. So obviously by the title, I'm going to be doing the Fine Line book tag. If you don't know what Fine Line is, hello, where have you been? Fine Line is Harry Styles' second album, and it is, pun intended, golden. It is just amazing, and when I listened to it when Friday the 13th, was it Friday the 13th? It must have been Friday, December the 13th when it came out. I was just like, that's history. I'm just gonna jump straight into it. Obviously, once again, I've left Theresa's video and her channel in the description below for you to go check out. With that all said and done, let's jump straight in to the Fine Line book tag. So the first song is Golden, and that is a new to you book or book series. And I thought, why not just go for the book that I'm currently reading, because it's a new to me book and it's a new to me series, and that is The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I am like 100 pages, not maybe just a bit over finishing this, and it's a big book. It's like 660 pages, and I've been reading it for like a week now. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's really, really good. I'm reading it for a secret video. I'm reading it because a lot of people love it, and I really want to, you know, see if that lives up to the hype. And I was gifted this by Charlotte, who I'll link in the description below, so I'm definitely reading it to see if, you know, I love it just as much as she did, and I am really enjoying it. It's a new to me world, new to me book, new to me series. We'll see by the end of this book if I want to continue on with the series. I think the only reason why I wouldn't is just because the second book is probably just as big and just as intimidating. Because I've read this one, maybe I'm not as intimidated to read it because I know I can get through this one. But I still feel like I'll be intimidated because it's a big book, the other one's a big book, and it is quite heavy. It's heavy in the terms of its adult fantasy, and I'm not really used to adult fantasy, so we'll see. But yes, this is a new to me book and book series. The next song is one that we're getting a music video for soon, and I'm so excited because I love this song, and it is that is Watermelon Sugar, and this one is to pick your favourite smarty book. Well, fun fact, they're not really the books I read. I haven't really read them, and they're just not really books that I go to because they're just not ones I'm interested in. Obviously, I still had to pick a book for this, and the one that I went for is, I think, if you're not into smarty books, is the book that you would have read if you're not into it, but you still wanted. Court of Mist and Fury. I feel like it's the only book that I can put on this list. It's not like I can be like, I read 50 Shades of Grey for a dare and I'll put that one on it. I have never read that, so this is the only one I feel like that first came to my mind, and it's the only one that came to my mind. We all know about those mountains. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm going to leave this one here because I just don't really feel like I need to say anything else. The next song is definitely probably one of my favourites. Definitely one of my favourites out of the singles. It's kind of getting a little bit overplayed now on the radio, but it's definitely still one of my favourites. And that is Adore You. I love that song so much, and the music video, the first time I watched it, I might have cried. And the one for this is to pick a uplifting, happy book slash character. I had to go for Heartstopper. I adore this series so much.
If you'll pardon the pun.
I've got all three up here. I've read all three, and I completely and utterly adore this series so much.
If you'll pardon the pun.
It's just so wholesome, and I love it, and I don't really need to say much else because I feel like everybody who's read it loves it, and it's just so wholesome. If you don't know what this is about, it's about two boys who are at the same school. They get put into the same form class, they might become friends, and then they might become something more, and it's just so simple, so sweet, so cute. It's very British. I just love it, and I love the art style. I've heard a lot of people recently say how they love the art style because it really shows facial expressions really well, and I think that's something that I noticed but didn't really pick up on. I knew it, but then when people are talking about it, I'm like, oh my god, yeah. So I actually adore this book series.
If you'll pardon the pun.
And it's so uplifting, it makes me so happy. There are some stuff it deals with, obviously it deals with homophobia and coming out, exploring your sexuality and other stuff, but at the end of the day it is very uplifting and very happy, and I just adore it so goddamn much.
If you'll pardon the pun.
The next song is... that is Lights Up, and that's the first song he released off the album, and kind of the first single he released of his new music. And this song is all about being yourself, and like Harry saying that he's tired of people putting him in a box and he's tired of being somebody that the media want him to be. This is about him coming out and being like, screw you, this is me, this is who I want to be, this is the authentic me. So obviously the prompt for this one is pick a book that lets you know that it's okay to be you. And for this one I went for Geekerella by Ashley Poston. Both of these, both Geekerella and The Princess and the Fangirl, and I'm really excited for the third book that's coming out, The Bookish and the Beast. I'm very excited for this because I love this series so much. This is a very kind of trashy but very uplifting, very cliche YA contemporary series about a girl who is a very big fan of this kind of sci-fi, kind of Star Trek-esque sort of series, and her dad was also a really massive fan, but he unfortunately died, and he kind of started this convention for it. He was like the runner of this like really popular convention that kind of turned into its own Comic-Con, where it wasn't just for that fandom but it was for other fandoms as well. And she now lives with her like evil stepmother, because obviously it's Geekerella, it's a Cinderella retelling. Decided to do a reboot of the series and make it into a film, and she's not happy with who's cast. She still wants to enter this competition to win tickets to the premiere, and ultimately obviously it follows the typical like Cinderella kind of path, but ultimately it is about accepting yourself and accepting who you are truly and being okay with who you are, and like being allowed to tell yourself like, it's great, it's cool, it's awesome that I am who I am, it's awesome that I am part of this fandom and then that defines me. And that really spoke to me because, as cliche as it sounds, I'm part of so many fandoms, and I feel like throughout my life some people have always not put me down but have kind of been like, oh, she's one of those people, she's one of those crazy fan people, and I'm like, yeah, what are you trying to say? So reading this book really spoke to me. I can relate to her, I can relate to being a massive fan of things, and I just ultimately loved this so much. The Princess and the Fangirl, set in the same world, follows different characters, is once again so pure, so wholesome, and I just love this series and this book, and it just speaks to me. As a fan, as a fangirl, it just speaks to me. The next song is... Don't you call me baby, we're not talking lately. Don't you call me what you used to call me. So that is Cherry, and the prompt for this one is to pick a book that has stuck with you. I had a few books for this because there have been a few books obviously have stuck with me. I think there are loads of books for us, for everyone, that have just stuck with us and have stayed for us, you know, forever, and will do so into the future. But the book I've chosen is a very cliche one for me to choose, or for me it is like in my brand, but it is just one that I constantly think about, and that is This Is Going to Hurt by Adam Kay. I have talked about this to the ends of the earth, but I feel like I haven't talked about it super recently, probably like a month ago I did, but I absolutely adore this book. I think it's one of the most important books. If you're going to read some non-fiction, read this bad boy. If you're from the UK, I definitely think you should read this book. This book is a non-fiction book and set in kind of memoirs from Adam Kay, who used to be a doctor, and it's kind of him in diary format, going back and just showing what it is like to be working in the NHS. And I think at this current time this is such an important book because it really just shows you what it's like to be a doctor and to be working in the NHS. It is hilarious, but it also does shine light on the key workers we have right now. And I love Adam Kay's writing style. I will eat up anything he writes because his writing style is so good. It's just so light and just so straightforward and so funny, but also when he wants to be impactful, he is. And I just adore it. So if you're from the UK, I really want you to read this book because currently y'all need to know what it's like to be a doctor. I think we all know, but this just shines a little bit more light on it. And if you're not from the UK and you're very interested in the NHS or just interested in being a doctor in general, still give this a shout, because I think no matter where you are in the world, doctors do the same thing. Even if your health service is different, they do the same thing. This book is incredible. I love it so much. Please can you write more, Adam Kay? I need more. The next song is one that gets me emo every time, and the music video is great. So that is Falling, and this song is kind of about looking back on a relationship you kind of messed up on, that you are like really repenting and just being like, I messed up so bad and I'm so sorry, like this has broken my heart, like I'm so sorry I've broken your heart. Prompt for this one is to pick a book that broke your heart. My answer for this is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. If you're around on my channel in like January, y'all know this broke me. This book follows two sisters in the war. They live in France. They both kind of play different parts within the war and with helping fight the war, and it is so traumatizing. It is so brilliant and it's so beautiful, but it's just, the last like 150 pages just broke me. You think like, okay, bad stuff is happening to one sister, the other sister's probably fine. No!
It just hit me.
It hurts, but it's beautiful and it broke me. I don't sob and I don't in general cry at books that often, or at all really, but I was sobbing. I was sobbing, I was crying, I was a mess. Just like Harry Styles is talking about in this, that like, my heart's broken, I'm sorry I did this to you. It's the other way around. It's this broke me and you should be sorry that it did it to me because it broke me. Please give this a read. It is just so beautiful. I know I've kind of hyped up to be a very traumatizing book, but it is just incredible. The next song is So that song is To Be So Lonely, and obviously from the lyric Arrogant Son of a Bitch, this one is to pick your favourite flawed character, and I feel like I have so many flawed characters and I can't really pick my favourite, and I feel like if I had to pick one it'd be very cliche, and I'm trying to stay away from cliches. I thought I'd go for one that I feel like is underrated and not many people have read this book. All of the characters I say in this are flawed, but this one, I love this book and I think about it a lot, and that is Call It What You Want by Bridget Cameron. This is definitely my favourite book by her. This follows two characters. One of them is Rob, and his dad has just been caught up in this kind of scam. He's been kind of, you know, shunned by the town for doing it, and he tried to commit suicide because of, you know, he just got caught up in so much mess. So Rob is trying to deal with that. And then you also have Megan, who is a very overachiever, and she recently was found out to have cheated on her SATs, even though she probably could have got, you know, perfect scores. The pressure of it made her cheat on her SATs. You've got these two characters who, as you can tell, even though obviously Rob's not affected and it's not Rob's fault that his dad did what he did, a lot of the town are kind of being like, oh, he should have known what his dad was doing. So a lot of the town like look down on him and being like, oh, waste of space sort of thing. And obviously a lot of people are looking down on Megan for cheating on her SAT. So these are very flawed characters, and they have to do like a project together, a school project, and they build this friendship, and then it kind of develops into more, and it is just so beautiful. I loved this book so much. Rob was so precious. I just loved these characters, and I just felt like they were so real, and the conversations they had were so real, and I just thought they were all so flawed. Even though, as I said, Rob wasn't caught up and wasn't part of what his dad did, he's still not a perfect character, you know, he's still flawed. Like, all these characters are so flawed, and I love it, and it was just so great. I love Bridget Cameron's contemporary books. I had read A Curse of Dark and Lonely, that series, or the first two that are out now, and I definitely prefer her contemporary books. I just absolutely adored this book, and I keep thinking about it, and I keep thinking about Rob, and I keep thinking how I fan casted this whole book, which I rarely do, and I fan casted Timothée Chalamet as Rob, so staying on brand. But I just found this book completely utterly amazing with some great flawed characters. So if you want flawed characters, give this a shout. The next song is So this song is She, and then for this prompt you have to pick your ideal book boyfriend slash girlfriend slash significant other. In a dream world, in an unrealistic world, my ideal boyfriend would be Draco Malfoy. But I thought I'd go realistically, because realistically I would never date Draco because I feel like I would hate him. So instead I went with the character who, when I was reading, I was like, Precious Bean. Precious Bean in the sense of like, you're a good person, and that is Jamie Watson from the Sherlock Holmes, that's what it's called, the Sherlock Holmes series. I love Jamie so much. I recently read this book, and as we get it from Jamie's perspective, you obviously learn more about him, and you just see him more than you see Charlotte, and he is just so precious. He cares about everybody, and he definitely cares about Charlotte so much, but he sees the best in people, and he is just so precious, and I love him, and I feel like I would so want to date him. I feel like he'd be the perfect boyfriend. He would care for you. He is just I love him. He's so precious. I love this book, and I'm really excited to continue on the series, but I just love Jamie. He's just so precious. I can't wait to read more from him, see him more, see him develop, hopefully see him continue to be the precious being that he is. The next song is So this song is Can You Moon, and that actually came up in my Spotify recommends books video, so I'll link that in the description below if you check out. But this song is all about looking back on beautiful times, on great memories you have, and just looking back on them with happiness. So this prompt is to pick a book that just feels really nostalgic and just feels like home. I could have gone for Harry Potter with this, but I thought I'd go for something else because I feel like Harry Potter's very obvious. And I picked A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket.
Look away, look away, look away, look away. The show will wreck your evening, your whole life and your day. Every single episode is nothing but dismay. So look away, look away, look away.
I read this series, I can't remember when I started it, but I started it quite young and I finished it when I was like 11, 12, and I have wanted to reread it. Like, I've got the first 3 books, I reread them like a few years ago, but I just never continued on and never picked up the rest of the series. But this series has such a special place in my heart because I have so many fond memories from reading it, and I just remember reading it and just loving it and learning stuff from it, and it was just such an important and poignant moment in my childhood. I also loved the film growing up, but I definitely prefer the TV series. The TV series is just perfection. I love it. It just always reminds me of my childhood because I have very fond memories, and I remember reading, I think, the first book in class in like when I must have been like 7 or something, and I have memories of finishing it. I think I must be in year 7. Does anyone else had that thing where they had to go to the library like once a week for half an hour to read a book? I remember finishing it in that and being like, we had to be silent. I remember finishing it and be like, oh my god, I was gonna go to my friend who'd already finished it, but like, oh my god, and I got told off for trying to talk about a book with a friend. This series is just so important to me and I love it so goddamn much, and it just reminds me of being a child. The next song I feel like is one that's underrated and not many people love. So that song is Treat People with Kindness, and I think the title kind of does give away what the song is about. And this prompt is to kind of pick a book that has an important message. And my one for this is a very recent read, and that is Moxie by Jennifer Mathieu. This book is about women or girls standing up for the sexism and misogyny that is present in their school, and it's just so great and I loved it. And I think obviously it has a very important message of just because it's the norm, just because this has been happening for years and it's almost like a tradition, doesn't mean that it can't change, doesn't mean that it has to stay that way. If you are uncomfortable in a situation or if you don't like what is happening in your environment, change it, make moves to change it. That's exactly what these girls do. They stand up. Obviously it's one girl initially, but she starts this kind of movement for all these girls to stand up against the sexism within their school, and it's just chef kiss. I had so much fun reading this book. So if you want a book that is all about feminism, girl power, standing up against sexism and misogyny, give it a shout because it's so good, and it definitely has the important message of you don't like something, change it. And the last song, I think I'll have to say is my favourite. I'm not sure, but I think it is. This song is honestly 6 minutes of pure perfection. It's 6 minutes of total bliss, and I love it so much. That is Fine Line, obviously the title of the album. And this one is to pick a book or a book you love with a relationship that you maybe have a love-hate relationship with or you didn't really love. I'm not going to say I loved this book or this trilogy, but it still has a very special place in my heart. The Shadow and Bone Grisha trilogy. I feel like my love for this trilogy is more than it should be, just because I'm so hyped for the TV show and because I love Ben Barnes, I love that cast, so I feel like I'm telling myself that I love this series more than I do. I read it very recently and kind of was like, it's alright, it's okay, I liked it, but it's not the best. But I think my inner Shadow and Bone TV show stan and my inner cast Ben Barnes stan is telling myself that I love this book and this series more than I do. But I'm just going to use this one because the relationship in this, the one that it ends up being, you know, the end game relationship, let me just say there could be so much better potential. She could have picked someone else. I think maybe because I didn't really love the male love interest, like him as a character. I think we all know who I'm talking about, but I just didn't really like him. I think by the end of the book and by the end of the series, I kind of was like, just whatever. Okay, whatever, take it, they can have them, they can be together, but ultimately I would have wanted more. I would have wanted something better. I feel like I'm still gonna love this series just because of the TV show. When the TV show comes out, I'm not gonna shut up. When the trailer comes out, I'm not gonna shut up. So that is it for the Fine Line book tag. I had a lot of fun filming this, but I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below if you're a Harry Styles stan. Maybe what your favourite song is off this album. I want to know, and maybe some of your answers to these questions as well. If you're new around here, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share it with all your friends, turn my notification bell on so you know when I'm going to post. My camera had to stop recording just, I was literally wrapping up, literally just as I was about to say the last thing that I say in my video. But that all said and done, I will see you all in my next video.